Let me turn to child sexual exploitation among Native Hawaiians. This kind of exploitation impacts Native Hawaiian children in the state of Hawaii disproportionately, and according to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, Native Hawaiian women and girls represent 67 to 77% of sex trafficking victims identified in recent studies. Native Hawaiians also represent 37% of reported child sex trafficking cases, and although federal government owes the same trust responsibility to Native Hawaiians as it does to American Indians and Alaskan Natives, bills like the Violence Against Women Act, where Native Hawaiian nonprofit organizations and tribal nonprofit organizations are both eligible for these same grant programs, but the VAWA bill fails to allow Native Hawaiian women and children to qualify for any type of support or innovation. So here's my question. I hope that the Bureau will begin to include Native Hawaiians in your work to address the missing and murdered Indigenous people crisis and violence against Indigenous people, because even if VAWA doesn't specifically allow for protection of Hawaiian women and children, there is nothing that stops the FBI from including Native Hawaiian women and children as part of your charge. Can you begin to talk about it, include them in your programmatic efforts?
I will say that I think you put your finger on an important issue, and that our Honolulu office has been working very hard to target and aggressively pursue federal charges on known and repeat human trafficking offenders. And what they're seeing, what they tell me, is that that you're seeing gangs and drug trafficking organizations exploit vulnerable victims, and in particular, the lion's share, as you say, with the statistics that you were citing, the lion's share of that is on displaced or marginalized sectors, especially Native Hawaiians. And in fact, I think it was just this past week, our Honolulu office recovered, I think, 3 minor females who were missing and at risk on the Big Island, and I know they're very aggressively working that issue.
That's good to know.